stava a succedere nel bordello.
Dude, I think I've never had chronic laryngitis until after the pandemic.
How many times did you get COVID?
3 times.
Did you get COVID before getting the shot?
No.
Me neither. I got it after getting the shot.
Right.
So you think it was the shot that fucked up your voice?
I mean, what the fuck is this? I don't know what it is. No one can explain it.
What are you referring to specifically?
I have a condition called chronic laryngitis. Are we recording?
I mean, the mics are hot now. I don't know if this is where we'll start.
Sure,
I just
whatever. As long as it's like,
well, because we were
I'm gonna put my phone away and really, pay attention.
Well, we're coming in out of context, but before we started
Isn't the way you like
recording,
you like just jumping in.
Sometimes, usually with you give me enough that I say we're off to the races.
Yeah.
Because you'll just say something crazy and I'll say,
whoa!
Yeah, you'll just say something crazy and I'll kind of figure we better get going
Yeah,
now.
no, it's been a problem. And my voice gives out every day.
Before we started recording, you were complaining about the sound levels, and I was saying I just have a deeper, more baritone voice than you.
Well, maybe it's the headset.
And you said, no, it's the shot. I didn't used to sound like this. I said, here we go with the 9/11 sob story.
No, it was not.
You said it's not the 9/11 sob story.
I got
it's
plenty
the
of
shot.
9/11 sob stories.
Right.
I don't really talk about those too much.
We don't have to go into depth about it, but maybe just provide.
This is just a weird thing because I never had this issue with my voice. Then all of a sudden, within the last 3 years, I can't get my voice to sound like it used to sound, and I can't get it to not give out. It goes, it goes out every day. At some point, I can't even use it.
Do people know about the 9/11 sob story on this
I
pod?
have no idea.
We don't have to get into it, but you were there at ground. Is it ground zero? Or what do they call it? What? Right on cue. The cough. What do they refer to it as? Where the Twin Towers used to be. What's it now called?
World Trade Center, Ground Zero.
Is it Ground Zero? Is that what it is?
No, Ground Zero is what it was after it happened.
Right. Okay. Well, you were there when it was in the process of becoming Ground Zero, as they were coming down. Right. Okay. Yeah. And you breathed in a large amount of soot,
all that shit.
soot and smoke. I remember you did an episode of Ari's podcast a few years ago about it, where you went into
Ari.
I said Ari.
Ari Shafir.
Ari. Yeah. I said Ari.
He retired from podcasting.
Right. Yeah. I saw that recently. You've been doing it for a while.
People say my episode was somehow one of the best episodes that he ever did. And I'm like, what? I mean, it was a good episode. Doesn't he have funny people on?
It was a good episode. Yeah. Well, but, yours was different because you're not a funny person.
No.
It was a serious talk.
I'm very serious. I am.
No, we always have fun. The episodes with you are a lot of fun. I think they are funny. I think they have to be. You're around comics a lot, so you kind of can roll with the punches a lot, which is why I like having you on.
After getting through,
you are a funny guy.
Life and surviving enough misery to last a lifetime, I have to take things as they come.
It's enough of the sob story.
And,
what are you doing?
And I opened up a comedy club just so I could laugh all the time. There you go.
To mask my pain. I've had enough misery to mask it. Like it's all right. It's a little much. Thank you. It's enough of the fucking victim complex shit.
Listen, I don't complain.
The martyrdom.
Man. I have a good time.
Well, welcome back to the pod. I don't know. I guess listen, we're a few minutes in. Fuck it. Let's keep everything in that we've had. Had rolling so far. So all right, folks. All right. What's going on? Welcome back to another iteration of the Bordello.
This is the Calcio podcast, guys.
The Bordello.
I'm on the fucking Calcio podcast. I don't hear anything about this Bordello crap.
Chris and I are at war. We'll get into it.
I'm on the Calcio podcast. I will talk about Calcio while I'm here. I don't know what the Bordello business is.
We could talk about anything. That's the beauty of it. It's no longer weird if I decide to talk about some other thing. Tennis. Go off on a tangent about something else.
Talking about tennis.
Martial arts, comedy, stand-up,
awful,
food,
all awful things. The only thing that drives me every day is soccer. That's it.
Yeah. No, you write for the love of the game. You have a blog
I don't have a blog. I got hired by Time Inc.
Sorry, you want to plug your articles?
Yeah, there's a website called Fansided run by Time Inc. I was contacted after I wrote that Maradona piece.
Right.
They all loved it apparently, and they said, "Would you write for some of our sites?"
Even though it was riddled with typos, the Maradona.
Yes,
pieces.
it was.
It was the spirit of the article.
It was written at 3 or 4 in the morning.
But the spirit of the article was good.
The spirit of the article was I was pissed off at Sam for having a problem about people worshiping an athlete.
I'm your muse. I'm your creative muse.
It's like,
you listen to this pod.
This guy doesn't get it at all, does he? He doesn't get it at all.
You listen to this pod, and it sparks creative juices. It's fantastic. I'm happy it has that effect on you. You know.
So Sam had a problem with Maradona being shrined everywhere in Naples.
I didn't have a problem with it.
Oh, you did.
No,
you did.
no.
You did.
I didn't say.
You judge people. You judge people for their worship of the guy. But I think you gotta understand the bigger picture of it, the reason why they do it.
I'm aware of why they do it.
Go ahead, then. I want to hear you say it, because if you're right, then I'll leave you alone.
I could do it in one sentence.
Go ahead.
The people that were miserable and all they had was soccer, and he gave them hope. That's it.
It's not that. It's not that.
It's not that. That's
it's
about
not that. He saved an economy. He built the whole city.
I said hope. I said he gave them hope.
That's not just hope.
But I said I would do it in one sentence. That entails all of those variables.
I don't know. That's
you want me to get it. You want me to get
away with something by just saying
no.
Hope.
Maybe what I just said is my thesis, and then if I were to have to defend it, then I could say, how did he give them hope? Well, he gave them a sense of importance. He gave them.
Understand.
He provided, but he made the city cool.
No one
he provided.
Knew where Naples was on the map until he showed up.
I don't know how true that is. There was cinema that was made in the 60s, the 50s, the 70s.
Never went to Naples. Never. They just didn't. There was nothing there. There was a fucking soccer team.
But it was always a cool city.
And a bunch of crime. No, it was not. It was not a cool city.
Yes, it was. It
was frowned upon. It was looked at as what was wrong with the South.
That's cool. And that's always been cool. Danger is always cool.
It was riddled with the mob. It was blamed for all the bullshit that Italy was going through at the time. You know, that the power was swinging towards the mob. Had to come up from Sicily. Naples was now riddled with the mafia, and they were afraid that it was going to come up even more further up north, which it has and did. But it was nothing. It had nothing to do with that. It had to do with the fact that the economy sucked. The country never helped the city out. So what happens when that happens? You turn to crime.
I don't know how direct of an impact Maradona had on the economy of Naples. It was still down bad, pretty bad up until way after he left.
When Maradona came, it changed everything because people wanted to visit.
It's improved in the last decade.
They wanted to visit Naples.
What you're saying is true, but I think it's only really been true for 10 years.
Gentrification
10 years.
in Naples. And then even after his
gentrification?
Death,
Naples is...
All kinds of people started moving... All kinds of people started moving into Naples. Why do they call it that area where you visited? Why do they call it the Spanish Quarter? It's because that's what it became.
No.
Dude, there was a ton of...
it was the Spanish Quarter back in like the 14 or 15 or 1600s.
It was called something else.
It was called the Spanish Quarter.
It was never called the Spanish Quarter.
It was. It was ruled by the Spaniards. Dilo's not here to pull shit up, but
true.
It was. Yeah, it was.
Oh my God! All right, so we'll fight on that. We'll pull up some history shit after this.
But King Ferdinand and the Queen, I think it was Maria, ran Naples. I think it was the Kingdom of Naples was somehow linked to Spain at the time, and I think it had to do. I think the naming of that quarter,
Southern Italy had been, kind of occupied by the Spanish. But
right?
It wasn't the Kingdom of Spain that occupied. It was just people from Spain. And then the actual kingdom that ruled over Naples was Capua. That was the actual region.
I got to make a note to not argue with you about history anymore because we did this last December.
Go do your research. Go ahead.
There were the kingdom of the two Sicilies. There
Right.
was Sicily and there was Naples. Naples, I think, had Spanish influence at one point. All I know is what you're saying about the Spanish Quarter being named the Spanish Quarter because it got gentrified with Spanish people in the last 30 years is not true.
It's gentrified by several different nationalities.
No, it's the most well, actually, there are some Bengalis there now that own
I interviewed a
fruit
guy
stands.
that's not Italian that owns a house in that area that rents it out for Airbnb.
But that's not why the city. Sorry, that's not why the neighborhood had its name changed. It was already called that. What are we arguing
But it was
about
glorified. It became glorified because of him. That's where the shrine went.
here?
Right. So
Right.
then people started flocking there, right?
In the last 2 years since he
Not
died.
just
And
the
my-
last 2 years.
It's especially been the case since he died. That was
Since
my
he died,
point.
yes.
My point was that since he died, they've gone into overdrive and they just start making stuff up a little bit and embellishing stuff, and that's okay. That's cool. That's
But
fine.
it wasn't.
But the people of the city are Argentines do this too. They are kind of in the midst of like an almost rewriting of history in a way that's a little more romantic, a little more fantastical, as always happens with prophets. And I was just saying he's becoming a prophet.
He is a prophet.
Kind of, yeah.
I mean, anybody who can change an economy and save a city.
I don't know if he actually saved the city.
Dude, he saved the city, man. He saved the city. There was another export other than fucking the mob, other than drugs. That's what the city had become known for.
What was the new export of the city? Soccer.
Soccer. Absolutely.
10 years after he left, they went bankrupt. They were in like City of D
Yeah,
or Chi.
that's what happens, man, when you fucking lose LeBron James.
Yeah, but I
What,
don't.
what happened to Cleveland when he left?
I think it was because of mismanagement before De Laurentiis took it over.
I mean, it's not just that.
which happens in most.
When
It
you-
happens in the case of
when
many
you lose
Italian
the biggest
clubs.
player in the world, it's hard to recover. Hard to recover. You think PSG is going to recover when Mbappe leaves?
Yeah, I do.
It's a mass exodus, dude.
I do. Yeah.
It's a mass exodus.
Well, what do you mean recover? I mean,
Everybody's leaving.
Yeah, well, I don't think they're gonna fall off.
They're not going to
off
be
the
one
map
of.
in
They're
the
not going
French
to be one of
league.
the top 5. No, fucking French league stinks. Come on.
Well, right, but before they
There's two
started
teams in the French
investing
league.
heavy funds, before the heavy funding began, before they began investing astronomical amounts of money into the team, like a little over a decade ago, they weren't that great. It all happened after the funding,
Right.
And yeah,
Right.
sorry, just plug that back in. Thank you. Sorry. So Saint Etienne, Lyon, Marseille, they were all winning titles. PSG were peripheral. I don't think there's any going back now, as long as Qatar owns them. But, fall off the map? Probably not. It's not like they're winning Champions Leagues every year. You know what I'm saying?
They're not going to be relevant as they were the last 5 years.
I suspect they will be about
I think
as
they're going to drop.
relevant.
They're going to drop a little bit. They're not going to not lose. They'll always qualify for Champions League.
I
because
suspect they'll be right back where they are, being
No way.
competitive in the French league, winning it most of the time, making
when you get a
quarterfinals of
when
the
you get a
Champions
mass-
League, winning the making the
they won't
quarterfinals
even
of the
make the
Champions League.
quarterfinals anymore.
We'll see. I mean, he might leave this summer.
He'll leave the summer.
Looks like it.
Then
One of the few guys.
There's no way they're not going to cash in on him.
One of the few big names who's moving this summer that isn't going to Saudi Arabia. Feels like all the big names that are moving this summer are
And
either
I'll
going
tell
to
you right
Saudi
now-
Arabia or they're happening within the English
I'll
league.
tell you right now, they're all basking in this money. They all love the money. But when that fucking league becomes the Super League that they were trying to form, it's over.
What's over?
For them, then it'll already be too late. The best players will already be in the Saudi League.
What do you mean it'll be over for them? You mean PSG specifically?
No, all those
Who's
all,
them?
all those top teams that are always vying for the best players, they wanted to create a Super League. You know that, obviously. It didn't work out. Everybody backed out at the last minute.
Yeah, so the
now-
Saudi
but
League
now-
is great
but
because
now
they
it's
can
happening
because
in the
they-
Saudi League.
because they can operate outside the confines of
Right.
Europe. It's kind of Europe. It's not. It's the Middle East, but it's relatively close. I'm saying you have like teams from Kazakhstan
That's
and
what the
Azerbaijan.
Saudis-
Hold on. You have teams from Israel, teams from Kazakhstan, teams from Azerbaijan that are considered part of Europe. Russia, is part of UEFA, even though most of the Russian country is on the Asian continent.
Right.
It's not like going all the way to China. Saudi Arabia is a reasonable plane ride away. Not that
Yeah, it's
different,
not that hard to get there.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
It's not like coming to America across the ocean.
They're
They're
making
a
it-
couple hours ahead.
They're making it
It's
very
not
attractive
that-
to come visit.
It's not. Yeah, exactly. It's a part of the world that people do go visit now. A lot of the Middle East is
Now,
the money.
If you got
where the money's at, where the oil rigs are.
if you got 10 to 15 of the best players in the world, at some point. If that's their goal, playing in your league. Whatever age they are, I don't give a shit if they're 35 or fucking 25. If they got that, then everybody needs to start worrying.
What did I tell you last December?
I don't remember.
Okay, I'll remind you. That's fair. We had a long. I saw you quite a bit when I was there.
December, dude.
It's true. It's true. It was a while ago, and I saw you a lot.
Lots happened, man.
So it's not fair of me to expect you to remember everything I said.
Yeah.
I'm referring specifically to something that I said on the podcast about Ronaldo and where he would go and where he would wind up.
You were right about that.
You were adamant that he would go. You were adamant that he should go. You were hoping that he would go, and you were adamant that he should go to MLS. That he should come to this side, to North America, play in the United States.
But I think
and
your
said, reason, right? Well, but hang on, but let's recall your argument here. Your reasoning was he would be a star here. He can kind of pull a Beckham, become part of the American mainstream.
He would have been given that offer.
Yes, he would have. He would have. Yeah, he would have done the fucking Finok late night TV shows, all that shit. He would have done all that stuff. He would have had the red carpet rolled out for him. He could have had a reality television show if he wanted to.
Also because he speaks English.
Yeah, he would. Right, and he would have been interface. Yeah, like Benzema could never have done that. For example, his
Messi
English
only
is pretty
talks
shit
to Spanish outlets for the most part.
Yeah, and yet he might wind up living in Florida. I don't think he will long term, but he'll probably keep a place there.
He had bought that place that he's in right now.
Oh, he already owned the place.
He had bought it before.
Sure. Yeah, of course he did. Right. Yeah.
His family likes to visit.
If you have fucking money,
Miami. Yeah.
You gotta have a place in the States.
It's a $90 million
go to Miami.
Complex.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Good for him. The insurance on that must be nuts too.
He can afford
insuring real estate in Miami, a city that's gonna be underwater in like 30 years. I mean, but still, please open your club down there.
The best part.
I hope you do.
The best
or is
part,
that inside information? Am I not allowed to?
No, I'll talk about it in a second. He lives whatever on the top floor of this thing, probably like 50 stories, 60 stories up.
Yeah.
He's the only guy. He has a penthouse. His entire carport goes all the way up.
Really?
To his apartment.
Wow.
Right?
Fuck.
Gets into his car, comes all the way down, zooms right out. So he's never in a garage or, he's
never has to see the neighbors.
Right.
He's a ghost.
He's a ghost.
That's great.
Although he does make appearances at a public supermarket, as everyone knows.
That's good. He'll never do that again. By the way, that was a one-time thing. It was
what people
that was them going to the zoo. That was them going to the zoo. Bro.
By the way,
that was them going on a safari.
People think he didn't have security. He had security there.
Oh no, dude! They
were
just
following him around.
They shut the supermarket down when they did that.
They just give him space.
Yeah, exactly.
But you're not allowed in his lane for the most part.
No. The kids could play a game in the aisles if they wanted to, if they had a ball with them. Yeah, no, I agree. So just to circle back, the thing with Ronaldo, I felt was, at the time, I said this on our last podcast, which is back in December. It was around episode 200-ish, 198, 99 maybe. I was saying I thought he would...
The Calcio podcast.
Correct.
Let's make sure.
Yes. Which this still is, but it's not. The Calcio podcast is dead because
it still lives.
In your heart. Yeah. Well,
the title of this podcast is going to be called
The Calcio Podcast.
The Calcio Podcast.
Okay. Maybe. So the thing I was saying at the time was I felt Ronaldo would go to Saudi Arabia. I understood your point about him, having a tempting offer, a tempting prospect of coming to America. It wouldn't just be him coming and leaving like Frank Lampard did. He'd probably be able to come here and set up a life here if he wanted to. Right? Whereas, the prospect of going to Saudi Arabia, I thought might be kind of equally tempting. You weren't really buying it, but the case I was making was that Saudi Arabia is cooler now, and it's just the direction we're going in. America's kind of fucking done. They're kind of over in most in most ways. Like they're kind of past it. Just because you have a lot of other countries now.
Kind of past what?
They're past it. They're prime. They're best. It does feel like the empire's kind of over. It's still the best country in the world, kind of. But it does feel like there are places that are making more conscious efforts to go all in on, on their path to trying to become a superpower, like China and like Saudi Arabia. I felt like China might have been that thing, but China's a little too foreign still. And also the Chinese government. They do like basketball.
Like soccer.
But the issue was that the Chinese government, I think, said, okay, enough of the soccer project. We're diverting our attention elsewhere. But any player that would go to China, I think, kind of missed home. When you go to the Middle East, they're all about hospitality.
Yeah.
They will speak to you in English. They will get you your own, secretary, and it will not feel so foreign.
Yeah,
You
look
eat
at
at a
Marco
steak.
Anakovic. You couldn't wait to get the fuck out.
You could
of
eat
China.
at a steakhouse, Yeah, El Shaarawy, right? He was there. He lasted a year, and that was it. Drogba. So,
Because they're not
the Middle Eastern track
they're
record
not
is
competitive leagues. So that was the concern with the Saudi Arabian league. And what I thought was, this guy still wants to play competitive soccer. I can't imagine, even for that kind of money, that he'd want to play in a very subpar league.
Yeah, but look what's happened now.
But look what's happened now. I think they sold him on, hey, you're not going to be the only.
Build the field and they will come.
You're not going to be the only guy. Trust me, we got a plan.
Yeah.
And that's the one thing I didn't think about. See, because I thought there's too many of these owners in the Prem, in the Italian leagues, and the French leagues, and whatever, that they wouldn't do that. But now they're like, fuck those leagues. We're going to create our own Super League, and we're going to get the best players in the world. And that's what they're doing. Very much like Live Golf, right?
Yeah, and the thing is, it happened right under everyone's nose because it went under the radar
because they all got greedy.
Well, we also failed to account for the fact that, or UEFA failed to account for the fact that a large, league could emerge in a country outside of its jurisdiction. And that's where Saudi Arabia is perfect for. It could have happened in Israel too, by the way. It could have happened in Qatar. It could have happened anywhere. Just pick a fucking country outside. It actually wouldn't have worked in Israel because Israel is a UEFA country. Sorry, but I'm saying it had to have been. It could have been any. It could have been any country that was relatively close to Europe. It was just outside its jurisdiction. Saudi Arabia is perfect for that.
They might create their own Super League with those countries.
Or they might create
their own
a strategic link with UEFA. They'll join UEFA.
Just like Live Golf.
They should join UEFA.
They're gonna figure something out.
They should join UEFA, but they should set some terms. They should say, listen, we want to operate within
sanctions. They want to put sanctions on them.
Who wants to? UEFA will want to put sanctions on the Saudis, right? But the Saudis.
Think about what they just did.
But the Saudis are under no obligation to join, so they can negotiate their entry into.
Look at the fair play rules that they're putting on the Prem League, right?
The financial fair play rules. Yeah.
Which I think is bullshit because it's like, how could you expect a team to spend what they make and ever get better? So you're telling me
sustainability and good scouting.
But then what chance?
Atalanta.
What chances?
Leicester.
What chances Luton Town have getting promoted to the Prem League and not spending more money than they make when they only have a 15,000 seat fucking stadium?
It's not bad. It's not. The odds aren't that long because your goal isn't to win it right away. Your goal is to
build. But you need Prem players, right?
Yeah, but you can definitely acquire them with the budget that you have given the TV deal. You could totally do that, but you have to do it intelligently.
Survive a year.
You might,
but at that size,
you got to build something like what Sassuolo did. Sassuolo were nothing 10 years ago. They were a smaller regional club, and they've effectively taken over Modena. Modena were a team that would come up and down, but they were kind of like a regular city, not quite mainstay, but they were an established club, and now they've kind of fallen off the map. They're still there. They're in the same, basically, province as Sassuolo. They're in the same area. I think they even play in the same stadium. Or I think Sassuolo took over their old stadium.
They took over their old stadium.
But in any event, Sassuolo filled that void kind of, it just sort of happened gradually over time. But there could have been no Modena and it still would have happened. They just managed the project well and they built it up from scratch. That can happen, but it's got to be done slowly, Like, is it impossible that Sassuolo wins a title in the next 12 years? No, they could. But it's also not impossible that they get relegated. It could all go to shit.
If I'm Arsenal and I have a 60,000 seat stadium, right?
Yeah.
I'm always going to make more than Crystal Palace, which has a 35,000 seat stadium.
That's right.
And I'm always going to spend more because I'm going to always make more. And as long as that happens, you have a chance at always having the better players no matter what and fixing wrongs.
But better players now are going to Crystal Palace because Crystal Palace can pay the money that top clubs in Germany and Spain and Italy could pay. Right? Can pay.
Can't pay.
Yes.
That's happening now, but think about what's this. If the Saudi leagues continue to buy the best players, it's going to be slim pickings. Think about it.
If the Saudi player, sorry, what?
If the best players in the world are going to go play for Saudi,
yeah,
then the next level are all going to go to the top 6 teams in the Prem, right?
Sure.
All the top 2 teams in the Bundesliga, all the top 3 teams in the Serie A, and so on and so forth.
I think the Italian league might be screwed. Yeah, like that's been a thing I've been saying for a couple of weeks now. Is I think the Italian league might really be in trouble now. You could see the Saudi league surpassing it, but there's also the fact that Italians don't leave Italy like ever.
Right.
And if they do, they're gonna fucking cry to their moms. So
that's
a thing.
I always think the Serie A will survive in a sense, but the other leagues are in trouble. They are in trouble.
Which other leagues? Like the Dutch league?
Bundesliga? Yeah, the Dutch league.
The leagues that export. The Italian league doesn't export that much because the best Italian players do tend to stay there.
They want to stay.
And there is a culture which has been able to survive for a while. But you can't get too comfortable with that
and
rest on those laurels, because look at what happened to Romania. Look at what happened in Hungary. Those used to be countries with good good football cultures and teams and leagues, and now they're fucked.
But these teams right now, they're getting greedy. They're taking these offers, and they're not realizing the repercussions of what that means.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how it all plays out.
I mean, they're losing the best players. They're going to lose the best players. And then what? What are they going to do?
I don't know. Suffer? Languish?
All the things they wanted to accomplish for a Super League, they're giving it to the Saudi League. That's what they're doing. They're just letting them do it instead. And maybe that's why they were doing it in the first place. And someone else wouldn't.
Yeah, and it might get ugly too, because we were talking about this before. Ultimately, football's not like important. Sports aren't important. None of it is. It's why, by the way, I don't only want to talk about soccer all the time. Like it's the be all end all.
You're so good at it.
Appreciate you saying so, but I want to be able to fucking use like the fact that I have a podcast to just riff on ideas so I can get better at stand-up comedy. While fucking, I started. I've not been doing it since I'm fucking 16 over here.
Nothing more important than soccer and culture. It's nothing more important,
dude. I don't know. You came into my life at the wrong time, I think. You came into my life when I was kind of on the out, trying to look into stand-up. Ironically,
that's crazy.
You own a stand-up. You own a comedy club, and when I decided I'm doing stand-up,
I started both.
I probably will.
Good.
Just because I like soccer, but I don't want it to be the thing I always have to talk about.
Sure.
It's when I want to, I'll do it. But then what inevitably happens is you confuse the audience, and I don't know. Now we're kind of revealing how the sausage is made on the pod.
So many people,
but I feel like
people have multiple podcasts.
I don't want to do the multiple podcast thing. I want to have one where I could do whatever the fuck I want, talk about whatever the fuck I want, and that's it. And I think it's doable, because people do like Rogan, and sometimes he'll talk about MMA when he wants.
Like I said, I'm gonna read,
and he'll talk about MMA when he wants, and he doesn't lose people to stick around.
That's the Culture Podcast.
It's still here. This is it.
You could be my co-host if you want.
I'll sue you. Well, you're
gonna be doing most of the talking. I can't do it.
You're gonna start your own podcast with my old name.
Yeah, the Culture Podcast with Sam Adamo.
Jesus,
that's what it's gonna be called.
It's literally what it was called up until 3 months ago.
That's what it's gonna continue to be called.
Why do you care so much about like my attempt to sort of like just maybe
because the world needs
use my free speech to talk about other shit and have other people on who don't give a shit about soccer? But what if I like having a laugh with other people?
Someone with a sense of humor and an intelligence that you have to talk about the sport.
But it's not going to get me anywhere.
That's not true.
I think it is.
I'm working on something.
Just stay. No one's going to hire me, man.
That's not true, man.
No one's going to hire me.
That's not true.
I'm too dirty.
All you got to do is clean you up a little bit and you're nice. That's it.
Barstool Sports doesn't want me, bro.
Forget about Barstool.
What? No, Barstool's great. They'd be lucky. They'd be lucky to fucking have me as a soccer guy.
Barstool does not pay enough. They don't pay enough. We're going for big bucks.
But
buku bucks. You want to cash in or not?
Mucho dinero, like the fucking burrito we had before.
We got to cash in.
We went to a food court before with another comic, and me and the other comic went to get fucking nice, clean chicken bowls, and Chris is like, "I'm going to Mucho Burrito. It sounds authentic."
I just wanted something quick that I could trust.
It looked good. It looked pretty good, to be fair.
Wasn't bad.
And the other thing about Ronaldo, and like we
we went off course.
I was about to start talking about Hispanic food.
Alexis Guerreros put something in my head. He said there was that looming, rape charge that got settled. And Alexis really felt he doesn't want to go back to the country that almost ruined him.
Yeah, the Saudis will defend you if you rape someone on camera.
The Saudis will let you rape as many people as you want and deny it ever happened.
They'll wipe the footage and kill them.
Yeah.
The Saudis Which is
exactly what's going on.
I actually had this thought yesterday. And this is why, by the way, I think it'll work out for me in stand-up long-term because these are like high-paying. But I think it might take a little while because when you swing for the fences like this, sometimes people might misconstrue it. But I had this thought yesterday. Some guys cheat on their spouse, it's right. But I think some people don't because they have like this guilt or they have this fear that the person who they cheat with might go blabbing. It's like almost like there should be a service where after you cheat on your spouse, you should hire someone to go fucking kill the person.
Well, kill him.
That's the Saudis. The Saudis will do that for you.
Forget it.
It probably already exists now.
They are protecting him like a fucking royal.
Yeah.
He is a royal though.
Yeah.
And that's,
in a way that almost feels like it's fake. That the way they're speaking is very theatrical and it's very overdone. But he, as an egomaniac, likes that where they say Ronaldo is a great champion. Ronaldo is the best human male who has ever existed. We are so lucky to host him here. It is an honor to have such greatness here. Like they use this really crazy hyperbolic language. And it gets him as erect as I got the other day when I said, I'll pick you up at the airport. Don't pay for a cab. And you said, you really are a wop. And I was like, fuck, I'm fully erect right now.
That's such a weird thing.
You can't tell me I'm a wop. Don't do it to me. You're fucking sweet talking me when you tell me that shit. That's the fucking shit I love to hear, And Ronaldo likewise likes to hear.
And look, they're doing exactly what they told him they would do. And as long as he does that, he'll be the biggest ambassador and play as long as they want. Play as long as they want him to play.
Yeah.
If they need him for 5 years, he's gonna do it.
I agree. And
I was wrong. They can't. MLS cannot touch that kind of.
And here's why it won't die. Because unlike the Chinese project a few years ago, where the CCP came in over the top and said, no, funds over, the Saudis have unlimited resources. They have unlimited funds. Money's not a thing. It doesn't exist there. They can print money basically at will. I don't know how much oil they're sitting on, but I know that people have a lot of money in Dubai and the Emirates and in Abu Dhabi, and that's a much smaller country than Saudi Arabia. I mean, it's huge. I don't know how much fucking oil they're sitting on, but it's like they know that it's never gonna end. No, and the government they don't even have a government. They don't have parliament. They don't have senators, right? It's
got the most money.
No, it's a royal family, right?
Right.
So if the royal family says we like football, we're gonna do this, it's almost probably saving them money. Like where for a while they thought, let's buy a team like Newcastle and have like a satellite club.
It's a waste of time.
They're doing it in-house now.
Right. It's a waste of time to go.
Brilliant.
It's a waste of time to go out and buy those teams.
Yeah.
Because you're supporting.
Well, because you could only do it once.
You can't also
have multiple in one
someone
league.
Else's league.
Yes, but also, yeah, that's part of it. But also, there's the fact that you can really only buy one.
And look,
you can't buy multiple. You can have different sheiks buy different.
It was the Saudi
clubs,
owner. It was the Saudi owners that wanted the Super League because they wanted something that didn't belong to a country. They wanted something that was theirs. They didn't want They didn't want to be part of an English league, an Italian league, or a German league. They wanted a Super League that had no nationality.
Right.
And when it blew up in their faces, Saudi Arabia is where it's gonna go. It's where it's gonna be.
Probably.
And look, I also feel like it's almost like the forbidden fruit, right? Like Ronaldo ate the apple, and now everything's gonna happen.
Yeah, the world is filled with original sin now.
And Messi, on the other hand, was more of the guy that's always been about keeping quiet, keeping his keeping it clean and all that stuff. And he goes, hey, I'll go to MLS and do the American thing and live with my family and all that stuff. Whereas Ronaldo's like, I'm gonna go and complete debaucheries.
When is the Miami club gonna be open? Do you have a timeline for
what
it
do you
or
mean
not?
It started? What do you mean?
What do you?
Oh, you mean our club?
Sorry. Yeah,
Oh,
your the
stand-up
comedy
club.
club, not the
Next summer,
football club.
hopefully, fall the latest.
That's cool because he'll likely still be there and there'll still be a cool buzz in the city.
Of course. And
I don't as long as he's
I'll
there.
invite
it'll
him to
be-
shows and we'll see what happens.
As long as he's there, the city's gonna be popping. It's had a
mean, the
real.
city's
It's always
popping.
been. It's
The
always
city's
been cool.
popping.
It's always been cool, but it's had a
didn't
real renaissance for
it
the last
didn't-
3 years.
It didn't need him to do that, but just the
No, but it's
fact-
getting even cooler, and if
Look,
it gets a good comedy club,
anytime-
it'll get even cooler. It's just-
Anytime they have a huge athlete like LeBron, Messi, they really know how to make that person feel, like you're part of the city. You know what I mean?
yeah.
And it's a great city to have fun in. It's a great city to be, somebody famous in because celebrities just don't hang out in Miami.
Fuck New York, dude. Maybe that's where I should fucking go to get good at stand up.
Dude, we're building a scene there, so hopefully we can nurture enough comedians so that you can go to Miami to be a comedian.
I mean, just it really does make it's kind of a shame that they never wound up playing together. I had this thought that they might wind up.
No.
I had this thought that they might wind up both. I bet you it wasn't that. I bet you Ronaldo. It didn't happen. So
They
this
are
is kind of
complete-
it
they're
never.
complete opposites.
Yeah, but it would have still been cool to see
Messi's
them
a
play
quiet
together.
guy. Ronaldo's a flamboyant guy.
Well, hear me out. Hear me out. I don't think it was probably ever that far fetched an idea for Ronaldo to go to PSG when Messi was there. But you don't think that they being the Qataris, just as is the case with any like fucking sport washing initiative in football, right? Be it the Emiratis and Man City or the Qataris with PSG, or now recently the Saudis with Newcastle. Does Azerbaijan own a fucking team? I don't know, but it's always been the case.
They will if they don't. So.
It's always been the case that like clubs like that are run like that, I think have a little bit more of like a build a god FIFA career mode type of existence, where nothing is too far fetched. Nothing is near fantasy.
That's the scary
That's
part,
the beauty.
is that
Yeah,
they
right.
can do anything they want.
And because their goal is to get as many eyeballs on the club and by extension, remedy or spruce up the image of the country that owns them, or
by this time next year,
but
they'll have a big American network deal.
Who's they?
The Saudi.
Oh, the Saudi League, maybe, yeah. And I would watch, by the way.
Yeah,
but
of course you would. So would everybody
I'm
else.
interested. I'm interested in it now. But right, yeah. It'll be great for their national team as well. Sorry, we're getting sidetracked here. The point I'm making is, when you own PSG and you are Qatar, and the sole goal of like the ultimate goal of the whole initiative is to make Qatar look good, you will try to bring in the coolest names possible, try to make the team as cool as possible. What other cooler, what more cool way is there to do that and to achieve that end than to put the two greatest players of our era, maybe of all time, together? I'm saying it didn't happen, but it might have. You're nuts if you think that at one point they didn't sit down in a boardroom and say, Ronaldo's out at Man United. Do we want him? We already have like the three other best players in the world. I know Neymar is not really probably there anymore, but he kind of, like for a time.
What do you think happened there?
With Neymar, I think for a time 3 years ago he was one of the best, and then he got injured.
Why couldn't they?
What do you ask me?
further?
You ask me about Neymar?
What do you think happened to PSG?
Okay, I thought you were asking me about Neymar. What happened there? Because I said he's one of the best players in the world. Well, then I took it back and said he's not anymore. But
he's not anymore.
He's still no. But Neymar, Messi, Mbappe, and Ronaldo are probably the four biggest, most flamboyant names who play in attacking positions in the world. That's what I meant. So, but you weren't asking me about Neymar. You were asking me specifically about what happened at PSG.
Yeah. What do you think?
What do you mean? What do you mean? What happened in the Ronaldo deal?
What kind of when the Messi,
which never happened?
Neymar, Mbappe project.
Why did the project go wrong?
Yeah.
Oh, probably just to do with just the technical side. I mean, they were a good competitive team.
There was a chemistry between Neymar and Messi.
No, I just mean like the team was never really built to win. I think you have some teams that aren't quite as flamboyant.
Some of the best players in the world.
Yeah, but from top to bottom, across the spine, across the midfield and the defense. I don't know that it was built in
you
a
don't
way
think
that
so?
is. I mean, I don't think it's that far-fetched,
You don't
a
think-
notion that they weren't quite built.
Is the question maybe that they didn't have a real system to play
I
the players that they had?
I don't know. I have not watched them enough week in, week
they-
out. I would only ever see them play in the Champions League where they, seemed to me, play free-flowing football. Free-flowing football.
Every game I had watched with them in it, whether it was league games or championship, they were not entertaining.
I thought it was pretty free-flowing. A lot of lateral movement, a lot of balls through the midfield, and a lot of quick passes.
Right.
Not tiki-taka, quick short passes, but a lot of get the ball, boom,
But there was no technical, drawn-up plays. I felt like there was no, hey, this is how we get the ball to Messi in these situations, or vice versa, how we get the ball to him. It just felt like if it happened, it happened. If it didn't, there was no real set-up plays, no game plans.
Maybe not quite. You're saying if Pep Guardiola coached them, it'd be different? Probably.
I think so,
I think
yeah.
so. I think so, too. I give it to Jose Mourinho.
I mean, how could they not have had the best
Ancelotti.
coach in the world coaching them?
Because he's getting paid the same amount of money
But
that
still,
he would have got paid at PSG
why not
in
hire
City.
Mourinho? Why not hire him?
Because he's not really gung-ho anymore. He's a little more concerned. He's actually never been gung-ho. He's very he's a little sadistic. The way he coaches, I think, yields terror ball. He yields horrible pragmatic football, but it's not necessarily the type of style that you'd want when you have the three best creative attacking players in the world. It's good when you have a side like Roma who are decent but need direction and need discipline. I think that's what I think. I don't really know what else the issue might have been. Just maybe the personnel wasn't ever strong enough in the midfield across the board. Who have they had? I'm trying to think. Verratti was there for a long time.
They've had Verratti forever.
Was Marquinhos a midfielder now, or is he a defender?
He's
He's a defender.
He goes from
Julian Draxler. Who the fuck else are they had? Paredes, Danilo Pereira, who they converted into a defender.
these are not bad
I'm
names.
trying to think. Yeah,
take these players.
Yeah, but Real Madrid have had a much better midfield for a number of years. So have Man City, and they've been the two teams who've dominated the Champions League the last couple of years. I don't know that they were built to beat the other strong teams because the other strong teams in Europe. Because I think in order to do that, you need to you need to have a good system that you play, and you need to have.
In that year, they went after Messi, Donnarumma, and two other guys. I forget who else they brought in at the same time.
Ramos.
Right, Ramos. You think when they did that, they weren't planning on trying to beat the top teams?
I think they were. Donnarumma's a good goalkeeper.
Or were they planning on just saying, we're going to just get great players here so we can sell more tickets or get more attention? Or were they really going for it?
I think it's a little bit of both. I think it's a little bit of the Galactical model without as much of a sense of direction. Like Ramos is one of the best defenders of his era, but they got him at 36, 37 years old. You got to build. Yeah. There are a lot of great Parisian players. There are a lot of most of the strongest French players come through the Ile-de-France region, which is the region.
But they had the best one.
It's the region of Paris.
But they had the best one.
The best one? What, the best team?
Mbappe. They had the best Parisian player there was.
Well, they let him go and they bought him. I'm saying they have a lot of great kids in their suburbs who they let get signed by other clubs, which frankly, the volume of kids in that area is too high. They cannot scoop them all up. And they will go to other clubs. It's always going to happen. It's just what it is. I mean, Paris is the biggest city in the country, so it makes sense.
Cities, yeah.
But they do. But yeah, I don't know that they bring through enough strong young players.
Because it's completely failed. I mean, you look at what they did, and it's a complete failure.
Well, I think the French national team itself is a good example of how to milk new blood in and build around them and build around a few core players as well that have always been there. PSG could very well do that same thing. Most of the French team, more than half the French team, I remember I looked this up during the World Cup, more than half the French team comes from Paris. And they're one of the best teams in the world. One of, right? They didn't have a great World Cup, did they?
This past year?
I don't think they did. Or did
Did
they go to the quarterfinal? I don't remember.
They got to the
They beat England and they
got to the semis, didn't they?
No.
I thought they got to the semis.
Did they?
I don't really count this past World Cup. So.
No, hang on. Who was in the final? Jesus, I don't even remember who was in the final. Argentina beat who the fuck did they beat? Shit.
Holland, I think, wasn't it?
No.
Croatia.
No.
Wasn't Croatia?
No.
Come on. Has to be one of those two teams.
Who the fuck did they beat, bro?
It was the quarterfinals. The quarterfinals was France, England.
Morocco. Morocco.
Semifinals was Morocco.
Jesus Christ, dude. No, Croatia, I think, finished in third place. They beat Morocco. And in the final, it was... Jesus Christ. Argentina.
I thought it was Holland. It's not Holland.
No, Argentina beat the Netherlands in penalties. On penalties. Oh, fuck, dude. I'm looking up World Cup, and it's giving me the Women's World Cup. Dude, fuck off, bro. If I say World Cup, assume I mean the World Cup, not Women's World Cup, bro. Does anyone ever look up World Cup and smile when the Women's World Cup comes up first?
No.
You know? You got to look it up first. You got to look up fucking Women's World Cup first in order for it to come up. I don't know. It's a dumb... Oh, shit, it was France. Jesus Christ, of course it was. Mbappe scored the 3 goals in the final. I forgot about that. Yeah, right. Oh, my God. So, dude, people have been fucking screaming in their cars listening to this.
Yeah, what are you talking about France? Mbappe scored 3 goals. What you doing?
No, that's right. No, they had a bad Euro. They lost to Switzerland in the Euro. Right, okay, that's what it was. Right. Well, okay. Well, now that we've remembered.
So you're saying the PSG didn't model themselves over the French national team?
I don't know. They acquire big names, and I don't think they bring through as many players from their academy as they probably could.
Were you impressed?
Like, and Nkunku came through there, and he wound up leaving.
In the games you watched, were you impressed by Messi, by Neymar?
Yeah, they smoked Juve this year in September. I was impressed by them. Weak Juve team, yeah, but I was impressed by them. I was impressed by what I saw overall. I mean, yeah. Anyway, but they don't. Here's the thing: you don't need. It's not Messi, circa 2011 with the Barcelona team around him that are, just a machine that have been well oiled and built for success. Right. It's Messi who's being inserted into a team of names, just like Ronaldo was inserted into the Man United team as a big name. And they tried to play through him, and he did very well, but it ultimately probably wasn't the best for the team, similar to what we saw at Juve. The Argentina side that Messi won the World Cup with was built around him, and I think it was an example of a more well-oiled machine that existed for him to succeed and lead the team to success with. I do think that in the case of PSG, it might have felt a little more like he was just a guy who they acquired because they had the opportunity to, and I don't know that it necessarily got them much closer to their goals. It just made the team, it made the team cooler. It made the it made their overall average level of player higher because he just tried. For example, if you slip me into the PSG team, right?
When I see Alexis,
if you could
walk around with a PSG jersey, I wanted to throw up. I was like, dude, you're such a fucking bandwagon fucking jumper. It's ridiculous.
Sure.
I hate people that all of a sudden just jump on this thing because they think it's going to be...
Well, yeah, but it did become cooler. But I would also say...
You think Juventus got cooler when they got Ronaldo?
Yes, but 100%. 100%.
All right, so
but the proof is in the pudding.
He just recently said, I saved Serie A when I went to Juventus.
Yeah, by fucking Juve up royally.
But did he save Serie A? Do you feel that way?
I don't know. I mean, the league's more competitive, but he did it by fucking tearing Juve down from within.
He did.
So I think it may be technically correct, but I don't know that there's, the correlation or causation is the same there.
Did you ever hear that? Did you ever watch that video, the tirade that he had?
Which one?
When at Juve, when they're walking into the locker room after a loss.
Oh yeah, the one that was on Amazon Prime that went viral. Yeah.
And he's just shitting on everybody.
Yeah, it's probably just another Wednesday. It's a thing that you got to do when you're him sometimes if the team's playing like shit.
But when he does that, do you think a group of veterans on that team just despise him?
Nope.
You don't think Buffon and those guys despise him?
No.
They've been there for years.
No, because
Bonucci and fucking Chiellini. You think they're fucking listening to this guy?
yes, because I think there's like he's a reverend.
But you coming to my
expert.
house. This is my team. I've been here for fucking 20 years.
You'd been there a year at that point.
Right.
Yeah, but
Where do you come off coming in here telling us we're playing like shit? We know we're playing like shit. You don't get to talk about that.
it's just what leaders do, bro.
But he's not a leader.
Yeah, he is. He's captained teams before.
But he's not that captain. He's not the captain of that team.
Well, no, but any team he goes to, being a veteran player who's done maybe the most in that dressing room.
I always thought that was the beginning of the end.
I don't think so. Nah.
You don't think that was the beginning of the end?
No, I don't. I
the
think
team did worse since that moment.
No, I don't think it was because of the fact that he lashed into them when
I mean,
they were
look,
playing like shit.
I've heard he alienated his teammates and they hated him.
Maybe, but I think that what you saw there was the same thing that you saw at Man United, which is the players try to play through him because he's a looming presence that you feel you must kind of like give a little bit of reverence to and curtsy to, and that isn't good. That isn't great. It's not ideal.
I love him. I think he's. I always thought he was better than Messi. That's just how I feel. I'm in awe of his talent. I think he's amazing. But as a person, as a guy who comes onto a team, I think you have to play a certain system in order for it to be successful.
Right.
But then if you're not playing at the level that you were playing at even 5 years ago, then isn't that system a waste, and can't you figure out a way to adjust?
Perhaps. I think a lot of it is not necessarily even an issue with the player himself. It could be that his ego fucks the team up, but it could be that he might still be, his trust might still be up for sale. He might be willing to buy in if the right coach gets him on board. I do think
who was coaching at that time?
Was it Solskjaer? No, it was at
Juve.
At Juve, it was Sarri. It was Allegri, and then it was Sarri. Yeah, it was 1 year of Allegri, 1 year of Sarri, and then 1 year of Pirlo. He was there for 3 years.
That's bad too.
No, not great. But I think
changing coaches like that.
But if you're Pirlo, right, and you're like a new coach, and you come into the team and you have Cristiano fucking Ronaldo on your team, you think, great, this is fantastic. We have one of the best players,
think he went in
one of the best attackers. I think
he's saying I gotta try and establish my.
He might have thought this is a very delicate situation. It's complex. I don't know that he thought that. I think he thought this guy could be an asset because he's Cristiano fucking Ronaldo. But how do you get the most of him? It feels like the guy who got the best out of him ever in the way that was most impressive, not Sir Alex Ferguson, none of the Portuguese coaches, not Mourinho, not Ancelotti, I would argue, despite the fact that a number of those guys have had varied levels of success with him, some greater than others.
Well,
for me, I think it's Zidane because Zidane won 3 Champions League titles back to back with him at the helm, and he kind of was hands off. It was flawless. And here's the thing: can Zidane yell at them? Yes. Why? Because he's Zidane. Can Ronaldo yell at Can Ronaldo
how long was
yell
Ancelotti the coach at Madrid?
A number of years, at least 2.
Was he the most?
3.
Oh, he wasn't.
Sorry.
Who coached Ronaldo the most?
I do not know. It would have either been Ancelotti or Zidane at Madrid.
You're saying Zidane only had 3 years.
Then he might have had only 3 years. Yeah, but I'm saying he had the most. I think he did the best job of coaching Ronaldo. Is what I'm saying specifically.
Zidane was always a fucking hard-headed guy.
Yeah,
you're not gonna push him around.
No pun intended.
Right. You're not gonna push him around as a coach.
No, and here's the thing.
He's gonna still do what he wants to do.
Let me ask you a question. Do you believe that Ronaldo could be a good coach?
No.
Okay, I thought you might say that. Hear me out. I don't think he could coach.
I don't think he has the patience.
I don't think he could coach Club Bruges like Vincent Kompany's doing, or he's coaching Anderlecht. But I don't think he can coach Ajax. I don't think he can coach. I don't think he can coach Villarreal. I don't think he can coach fucking Crystal Palace or West Brom, but I think he might be able to coach Real Madrid because I think Ronaldo could coach Mbappe.
Do you understand the grind of a coach?
Yes, and that's why I don't think he'll do it.
He's not gonna do it.
I agree. I don't think he would.
He's gonna own a team before he coaches a team.
I don't disagree with you.
Let's be honest.
I don't disagree with you, but if he had to, like if he were to do it, like for example,
So you're saying like he's a coach on the
it's
field?
It's like asking, would that guy be a good comic? Oh, he never will. He'll never do it. He's made too much money. Yeah, okay, but like, you think Jake Paul would be a good comic? Maybe. I'm sure he's a charming guy. He's smart. He'd probably bomb like everyone else in the beginning, but he could probably do it.
No.
You don't think he could do it?
No.
I bet you he could. He's confident. If he committed his life to it, like he's committed it to boxing after 20 years, I bet you he could be a pro.
A lot of people.
Dude, I'm not saying he'd be a fucking dope. I'm saying he could probably be a pro comic. It'll never happen. I bet you Ronaldo could, with the right circumstances, become a decent coach. I also don't think Jake Paul's doing the fucking open mic in Astoria. You know what I'm saying? I'm saying he's probably doing it a different way, but it's, whatever. That's all.
You think he would demand the same kind of room like Pep would immediately?
I think it'd be a lot more like Zidane, is my point. I'm saying that's probably closer to what you'd.
But Zidane, it's the same thing. Zidane was never known as a flamboyant player that, he was a grinder with a ton of talent.
He was a midfielder, so it's very different. You see the game differently.
He ran the team.
Right. That's a good point. That's also why everyone thought that Pirlo would wind up being a good coach, and it hasn't really.
He could be. I just think he needed to be. I think Pirlo needed to start.
He got baptized by fire. His first job was the Juve second team, and within a week he was promoted to the first team. It was nuts.
You gotta let him get his feet wet before.
Oh yeah. No, I
don't know where is he gonna go next.
I think he's in Turkey now, or he might have just resigned from a Turkish team that he was
Really?
I'm not sure if he's still there.
That means he stinks as a coach, probably.
Yeah, but he was also managing in fucking Turkey. Like, Pep Guardiola never managed in Turkey, bro. You know what I'm saying? Pep Guardiola only ever managed top clubs.
Pogba is on his way to Turkey. He's on glass the ring.
He is?
Yeah.
He's not going to Saudi Arabia. I thought he was
looks like it's happening. It's a done deal.
Where's he going?
The glass ring.
Galatasaray.
That's the glass.
Oh, so it's over for him. That's where players go to die.
Isn't it?
Oh, fuck. No, Pirlo's at Sampdoria now, which will be interesting. I think they got relegated to Serie B. So
Sampdoria?
Yeah, last year.
He wasn't coaching them last year, was he?
No, he was coaching a team in Turkey. He resigned, and he's now the coach of Sampdoria,
he's
are in
that's the
Serie B, which is
the right move.
Yep, it's the Inzaghi move. It's the people Inzaghi move.
He'll come up. He'll get that team back up.
I agree.
And he'll slowly build a team in his vision, and then somebody will hire him to take that vision and put it with better players.
That's the hope, yeah. I mean, Zidane was the coach of the Real Madrid second team, the Castilla, for a long time.
You could see him being a coach of Milan in the next 5 years or something.
Yeah, or returning to Juve somehow. I think that's
I think that bridge is burned.
I don't think it's burned. I think the ship might have sailed for now.
Or he'll somehow become.
Dude, if Conte can come back to Juve, come back to Juve, no bridge can be burned at Juve.
I got the perfect job, and I say this because he was part of Citigroup. You can see Palermo getting fucking promoted in the next 2 years. And they put a bunch of money in.
It's a good call.
They put a bunch of money behind that, and they named Pirlo the coach.
Yeah, speaking of Sicilian clubs who got taken over recently, what's happening? So we think that Serie A is dying. What the fuck are you going to do with the Serie D club now? Dude, you might... Listen, if the Saudi league keeps, gaining traction and it keeps snowballing and Serie A kind of falls to the wayside, you might be able to buy a Serie A club.
Could be. Could be. So it was an interesting conversation.
How was your trip to Sicily? You were there last month.
It was amazing. It was a good time, and
How's your Uncle Pino?
My Uncle Pino's great.
I meant to ask you before we started. He's
an incredible man, and
Is he retired now, or is he
retired.
Still no longer conducting trains?
No. Good dude, knows everybody.
Was he a conductor or was he an engineer?
Conductor.
Okay.
He was very well.
A man of the people.
He's a man of the people and
a conductor.
He's an advocate. He fights for people's civil rights. He does a lot of good things for his community. Very well connected guy. So
he set the meeting up for you.
When I asked him, "Hey, can you find out about this?" He took it seriously, and he did. And I sat down with them, and the price wasn't crazy. I didn't think it was too crazy. It was $1,825,000 to buy the team. And, we talked about
outright.
100%
equity.
Yeah. Which he didn't want to do specifically, but he said if that's...
Who's he?
It depends who I can't really see. The problem is I signed an NDA.
Okay.
I can't really talk about who's in the room.
Okay. The decision maker.
Just know that there's a board.
Yeah.
There's basically two guys.
There's a board. It's the local fucking mafia clan.
There's two guys basically in charge. One guy just started, who came in with an influx of money.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
Sorry, before. Is one of the guys, I know you signed an NDA, but bear with me here. Is one of the guys who's running the club running it from behind bars?
No.
It's
That's
not
gone.
like
all
that.
that stuff is cleared.
Okay, if you
When
say
they
so.
when they rebooted the team, they cleansed everything of anything from the past.
God bless.
Yeah.
Okay.
So basically, it's a new organization running an old team. If that makes sense. They were a part of another team. Then they merged the two teams, kept the Tropany name.
So that they ate a smaller club, or kind of.
No, a smaller club actually kind of ate them because they were on the brink of bankruptcy.
And you alphaed them and said, "We're keeping our name."
And they said, obviously, the success of this historic club, we should keep that name and keep their logo and, keep that going because it has more tradition and more history than what they had. So that's what they did. But the teams were still in the same region. It's just that one team
I understand.
had never passed Serie D.
Right. So right, and whereas Trapani had been all the way up to B.
Right.
So what's your goal here with this? What it's a fun project,
so
but
I have,
you realistically think you could do what is necessary to like the time? You think you could put the time and effort into it, or would you just sort of set up a group to be part of it? And you're kind of passively overseeing it.
I would set up a group.
And why do they need you, and why are they not currently equipped to...
Because it's hard, dude. It's Sicily.
Sure.
You know what I mean? Like, there's not... Look, if you think about the fact that Palermo got bought for just $8 million, what does that say?
It's tough. Shit's
that
not,
no one is really serious about investing in Sicily.
Mm-hmm.
You hear about those deals where you can buy a house for $1 and all that shit. It's... Even with that... They still don't buy. No one's buying up real estate in Sicily. They're just not because the return's never going to be there.
So you're saying that everyone has a hard time keeping afloat. There's not a lot of money to go around.
Right.
You would do it and just try to not lose money and do it out of the goodness of your heart for the love of the
goodness of the heart.
For the love of the region.
For me, it's just an end game for me.
What's the end game?
Meaning, I would invest now, and that's what I'm talking to them about. With the idea that I eventually would want to be the primary shareholder and buy the team out at some point.
Mm-hmm.
And when that would happen, I would step in a more senior role or executive role. Where I wouldn't run the team because I'm not a guy who's going to run the team. I'm not an idiot. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not... Like, I understand.
But it would be a passion project whereby you're going about...
It's me basically saying I'm done with the rest of my life. This is the new chapter. And I'm going to just live here and ingratiate myself in this whole culture and be part of this all the time.
And try to help out the area.
And the area, yeah. It's like, look, they haven't had a real hope in a long time in that area. The economy really sucks in Tropany, and this is a team that they once took a lot of pride in. And when they got to Serie B, it was a huge deal. They were very competitive in Serie B. They almost got promoted. They were in the playoff to get promoted. They lost by a penalty shot.
So there's a pain that you have
because it was so close. And
where you want to try to restore them back to a level that they once were at because you know how hard and almost impossible it is to get back.
But also there's a pride. There's a pride thing of the Sicilian team got fucking murdered, man. Like there's all the sanctions they went through and understandably they did wrong, and they had bad people running them. Palermo getting sanctioned the way they did and getting knocked down Catania getting knocked down when they were both very prominent teams.
Messina.
Yeah,
had a hard
and
time.
all those teams except for Palermo now is in Serie A, back in Serie B. They don't have a chance.
Sorry, wait, what? You mean none of those teams are back in City B except Palermo's? What
Right.
you mean? Okay, sorry.
And those teams don't have a chance in hell going back.
Right. So that's also part of it for you,
they're
right? Is you knowing how
buried.
hard it is to return, how long the road back is,
There's a sense of pride
without a directional,
There's a sense of pride of trying
push.
to bring back another team. Like, nothing was wrong with Trapani in terms of bad people. They ran out of money.
It's almost like to get promoted in succession twice. What you need is a project in place, and you need a strategy. You need
Right.
and you need to just execute it, because that's more than a lot of the other clubs have. A lot of the other ones are just trying to exist. It's almost like when you decide it's time to strike, we fucking open up the sails, get the wind in our sails, and we just go.
Right.
It's like you have
the
stars have to line up a little bit. It is sports, so you can't fix it. It's random. I'm sure people have tried, but it's like, it could come down to an offside call or something. Obviously, it's not really an exact science. But the thinking is, at a certain point, you put all the odds on your side, and you just go for it, like what Wrexham did, where they kind of decided that they were going to do more than the other teams in their area.
But like,
in their league, and
I
at
still
their
don't
level
get
too.
how they're able to buy all these great players.
A lot of them.
When we're doing this fair
Listen,
deal thing.
listen, man. How was my Division 6 team able to get me to come down 6 levels to play for them with a guy, a fat coach named Smitty, who fucking says homophobic shit in the team talk every week? How did they do it? Sam.
That's what he does.
Sam.
He does one of those speeches every week.
Sam,
you kick like a. I don't got any other words to say because I'm not very educated.
Yeah.
Don't you hate people like that?
But because you're not allowed to call any field now, because of the fact that you will get like an automatic
First of all,
warning.
A coach shouldn't do that anyway.
No, but he does it on cachette.
If you say, "Hey, dude, don't be a
does it on
between two friends,"
but he doesn't.
It's one thing. But when a coach fucking yells at his team,
it's a team of friends, so he gets away. But how did they do it? It's simple. You see, Sam had his interests elsewhere, and he wanted to settle down. That's it. That's how. Who's the goalie at Wrexham? Who was an ex-England international? Forster.
Forster, yeah.
No, Ben Foster, not
Ben
Fraser
Foster.
Forster. Ben Foster. He's 40.
Right.
He has a YouTube channel now.
Still a very good goalie.
He's a great goalie. He's a great goalkeeper. But he's like, probably at a point where he's considering retiring, or he could keep playing football and having fun.
But if it wasn't him, they would go get fucking, I don't know.
Well, someone else in a similar position.
What was that guy? John Hart?
Maybe.
Somebody like him.
Yeah, Joe Hart's playing top flight football in Scotland. It's a little different. He might play another Champions League game. He might be. You don't know what his goals are, right? He's done a lot for himself. He might just say, I want to play in the Champions League one last time. But Ben Foster knows it's over, and he might have retired anyway. So how do you, why, Buffon, for example, right, is now playing in Serie B. How did you get him to drop down? Well, maybe he might have had a harder time holding down a spot in Serie A. He wanted to be at a club that's close to his heart.
I thought that was the case, but then I did some digging and I heard otherwise.
What, with Buffon?
Yeah.
What happened with Buffon?
He needs some money.
You think that's what it is?
Yeah, I heard he has some really bad habits.
Well, he was a bad gambler, notoriously. And he
he
used to bet on himself.
is.
And you know who told me that?
Who?
My uncle in Calabria.
Everybody knows.
I learned it from him.
That's why
I learned it from my cousin's dad.
He's not playing out of passion. He's playing out of necessity.
Yeah, no wonder he fucking still smokes.
That's what it is.
Yeah, he's just a nervous.
He was supposed to
nervous
retire
man.
10 different times.
Yeah.
And he kept coming back because he needs the money.
Yeah. He chain smokes.
That's sad when a player goes through his career, made millions of dollars, and still needs to play.
He's got a divorce too. He's probably got to pay alimony.
It's bad. I heard it's bad.
Fuck.
Yeah. Speaking of retired players,
He's got to go to the mattresses, dude.
I wanted to shout out Giuseppe Rossi, who retired this week. officially.
I want to get him on the pod at some point.
I'll do everything I can to get him.
Oh, well, you don't have to. Maybe I'll reach out to him if I ever come back down to New York. I'd like to have him on now that he's done. Hopefully, that'd be cool.
Yeah,
he's kind of like the.
He doesn't do a lot of interviews.
He's kind of like the biggest guy you can get as a guy who speaks English and talks about Italian football. So that'd be cool. You know,
Yeah.
I like just if I'm gonna get anyone in that space,
You know
if I'm gonna get a soccer guy specifically, I'd love for it to be him.
Here's the thing I have never heard him talk about. I never heard him talk about his influences, the way we were influenced by those Italian teams. So he's always gotten so much ridicule and disrespect because he chose the Italian national team over the American U.S. national team. And because of that, I think he's never went out and actually talked about why and who influenced him. And I'd love to hear that. I'd love to hear that from him. I'd love to hear him talk about like how much those guys meant to him, and when he got to the point of choosing a side, how it was impossible to choose U.S. because there were no U.S. stars like that. There just weren't. I mean, you didn't grow up in the New York area if you were Italian worshiping Tony Meola. You know what I mean? Like it didn't happen. I don't even. You're like silent because like who the fuck's Tony Meola? Tony Meola was the biggest U.S. soccer star in the '90s. He was our number one goalkeeper, and no one even knows who the fuck he is.
The people that really are, the people that get upset over a decision like that in the context of American soccer are just kind of weird.
Well, I guess
the people that are American soccer hardos live in Kansas.
It's also because they don't understand what it's like having an ethnicity, growing up with an Italian father from Italy.
Nah, dude. The people that like him,
who's Italian soccer is like a religion.
No, the biggest U.S. soccer fans, bro. I think are in like fucking Missouri and like Kansas City and I think
they're
think
in the heartland. Sure.
Portland. I think it's the Seattle. I think it's the cities with like a big MLS culture that are really into the U.S. men's national team, and those are not places I think that can relate to the identifying with a European immigrant background or a country that you might come from in Europe if you have a European immigrant background.
I don't know how much time you ever spent playing FIFA.
Fair bit, yeah.
But what's your go-to thing? You play for the Italian national team?
Always play for Italy.
I mean, it's like that's the first thing I do when I was a kid and I got FIFA. I would immediately sign up to play a tournament with the Italian national team because
dude.
I don't
want to play with the American team, bro. It's like
it's not even that. It's just that's who you watch.
No, but it's also not like I don't think anyone's ever. I don't think there are many people that my age growing up who really ever got excited about the prospect of playing for the American team. I think that's
in the 80s and 90s you watched Serie A if you were Italian. If you were Italian American, you watched Serie A. It's just what you did. Because there was no other option. Even the Prem wasn't a league you really watched yet because it wasn't, as prominent as it is now. Then in the 2000s, the MLS started picking up some steam. But by the time this kid, was 16, 17...
He had already lived in Italy. It was over at that point.
Yeah, it's like he didn't grow up...
They never stood a chance.
He didn't grow up watching the MLS.
Fuck no.
He grew up watching City.
I like what you pointed out to me about how he thanked every club he's ever played for, except for Real Salt Lake.
And I don't think that's on purpose. I think they
he just forgot that he played for them.
I think they signed him to a short-term deal. It was the pandemic year where there was no crowds in the stadiums.
I bet you he forgot he played for them.
He probably had a miserable time because they didn't use him the way they should have, and fuck them. He played like 10 games for them overall, but it's like...
Did Spal get relegated last year?
Spal got relegated.
Yeah, it's...
I mean, he didn't play much for them.
It's the end of the line. Yes.
He was a guy that was on their bench who was there to be a leader. He would come on in late in games for, hopeful, try and get some goals scored at the end. He did that a couple of times.
So what, yeah. What's Joe Tacopina going to do now? He's going to take over another fucking City of B club now? I
think he's still... a Spal guy. I think he thinks he can build Spal.
He's invested in Ferrara.
Yeah,
it's a very I don't know, like when Joe Tacopina talks to me about Rome.
This is like I know who Joe Tacopina is because I followed Spal while Rossi was there. But like the fact that he knows more about this guy than anybody could possibly.
Everyone knows Joe Tacopina.
But not like you do. Come on. Like, you could actually.
Anyone who follows
I mean, come on.
celebrity law in the United States or who follows Italian soccer knows who he is. You know, when you tell me that Tacopina talks about, when Tacopina is talking about Rome or talking about, here's the thing with him. I'd actually like to sit down with him if I could.
Sure.
Hypothetically, I'm not shitting on him. I like him a lot. I'm fascinated by his career, and he's a guy my father's age. He's a professional like my father. Like I understand his I think I understand his brain. Like he's not like a man who's totally foreign to me. I think I'd enjoy conversing with him.
Yeah.
So I'm not crapping on him, but it is funny to me it's amusing how every club he would go to, there would always be a big sell. He'd be at Roma, and he'd go, Rome is one of the oldest cities in the world. It's a fantastic city. Then he would go to Bologna and say, Bologna is a great, beautiful university city. It's the breadbasket of Italy. They got food everywhere. It's perfectly placed. It's perfectly placed.
He's trying to get players interested.
To get the perfect Italian meal you'll have in Bologna. It's the most Italian city, really, if you think about it. Right. Then he went to Venice. Venice is the most beautiful city in the world. That's the thing about Venice. It's an easy sell. I've always wanted to be, when I found out that Venezia wanted us to take over, it was a no-brainer. And then he went to Catania, and it was, my family's Sicilian.
Right.
And I got to tell you, this club under Mount Etna has gone to hell and back. They don't deserve it. And it's like, now you're at Ferrara. It's like, it's all right, buddy. How many of these are we going to do before? I think he's done.
He does.
I think he's done with Ferrara.
But he does breathe life into these cities and teams.
They love him. They love him. I love him. I'm sold. Listen, he's sold me every time.
He's doing right by the team, at least.
That's important. That is valuable, and
he's
important.
He's not going there to trash and ruin them.
Yeah, but once you go to Ferrara and you start talking about the medieval castles there and the battles that took place with
the landscapes,
the battles that took place with Urbino,
there's a fighting spirit here.
Cesena. All right.
Medieval times, there's a fighting spirit.
Oof. I don't know.
As long as he doesn't go to Pompeii and start talking about the buried city.
Imagine if he just kept going further and further down the pyramid. He winds up at a 9th tier side in Herculaneum outside Naples, talking about the fucking the prostitutes and the brothels just etched in lava. Yeah, I don't know. He's like a good guy. I'd like to pick his brain. I love to pick his brain, actually. Because a former football business guy.
He's like Serie. He's gone down to Serie N, and he goes Partana in Sicily.
Yeah,
we import the best oil. You know, this city should be known.
Do you guys have good oil in Sicily in particular? Is the land fertile there?
We are the biggest exporter
I've seen
now.
Partana
oil is huge now. So much so that Starbucks is putting it in their coffee, which I have no idea what the fuck that's about.
They put olive oil in the coffee.
They are saying this pissed me off. So right before I went to Sicily, the guy who founded Starbucks, he says he founded Starbucks because he lived in Milan for a while and he was inspired by the coffee shops, which, by the way, Starbucks is nothing like the Milan fucking coffee shops.
No.
But
of course,
it is what it is. He made that into the marketing thing, and everyone ate it up, right?
Yeah.
So now this fucking guy goes, I've spent the last couple of years going back and forth to Sicily, and I'm so inspired by how the Sicilians drink that coffee. And he says, with olive oil. And I go, what the fuck are you talking about? Because I've been going to Sicily all my life, and I've never seen anyone put olive oil in their coffee. And he's calling it oleato.
Yeah, that feels like a thing. I've never heard of that ever.
And so
that feels like a thing that they might just be saying because it sounds like something that is relatively realistic to someone who doesn't know any better.
It's a bullshit marketing thing.
But
of course, no one knows any better.
By the way,
people are drinking oleato in New York City right now with oil in it. Now the thing is, the oil is so delicious.
It's fucking nice, dude. Yeah, like you ever had a spoonful of olive oil?
It's delicious. I've gone to the Canolotto in Partana, which is basically the wells. Yeah. And they just fucking scoop it up right there.
My great grandmother lived to be 101, and her family, they were, I think, 7 siblings. One died in a car crash. The rest all lived pretty. Did one drown? I don't know.
Jesus.
I don't know. But this is like, she was born. She was born in 1913. It was fucking. Right. It was the fucking jungle back then. I don't know, but it was a very long time ago. People died of like freak causes all the time. Most of them lived to be very old. 3 of them became centenarians. 3 of them cracked 100. One lived to 108. One to 103.
My grandpa was in 97. So
I'm blessed.
Yeah.
They would all take a teaspoon of olive oil every day.
It's a big part of their diet.
Apparently, growing up, that was a thing they did when they were like, growing. I don't know.
Partana has
that's according to family folklore. Anyway, I met my great grandmother. She died when I was 16. So I think she told me. It's not like this thing I fucking heard about.
Partana oil is a communal thing. Everyone takes all their olives.
You've told me about this.
Press the oil, and it all goes into basically one pot, and the entire town takes part.
That's like the opposite of what people do in Abruzzo, where my grandfather's from, where everyone fucking shoots each other over the trees. Everyone fucking shoots each other over the olive trees. If you take a piss on someone's olive tree, dude.
It's very well protected. It's people respect each other. Everyone's got their own olive farm, basically. My uncle has some too. Has a piece of land with olive trees on him, and presses oil. So it's a whole thing that they all take part in, and they all get basically residuals, right?
And I'm thinking, I feel like I've seen it before, but it could be a trick of the brain now.
No,
I
it's
just feel like
now.
I know
it's everywhere now. It's everywhere. I'm not even joking.
I've heard you talk about it before, but
it's in every major supermarket in North America. They export, especially where there's obviously Italian people. It's very prominent. So, they do this, and Starbucks basically decided, let's team up with this oil company, and let's make this new coffee drink. And I go down to Sicily, and I go, hey, you guys are doing this with Starbucks? And they go, what the fuck is Starbucks?
Yeah,
so I showed them the whole thing, and they go, what are you saying, that there's oil in coffee?
Qual è sta schifezza?
And I'm like, yeah, do you guys ever drink oil in your coffee? And they all looked at me like, why would anyone do that?
Stupid American.
Said,
you dumb yank.
It's the dumbest thing ever.
You stupid yank. Dude, I get called a yank all the time now on TikTok. Anytime I talk about anything to do with Italy, everyone just calls me a dumb yank. I never correct them. I
tweeted the guy from Starbucks and says, no one knows what you're talking about.
Tweeting into the abyss. Yeah, I don't think he
so no one knows that there's and no one here knows that there's a drink where you put oil in it. And certainly no one's ever had that here. So I don't know what the fuck oleato is, but it's not Sicilian. Stop saying Sicilian. You invented it. Take credit for it.
Is there a pool outside, or people swimming out by the people swimming in a fountain, dude? You see that?
I don't know what the fuck they do in Montreal, man.
We gonna step downstairs soon.
This is your shit.
We've been going on. Yeah, we've done a good little.
Yeah, so I'm here for Just for Laughs, as you guys might have figured out.
Right. Yeah. And this is the second annual State of the Union.
Are we gonna do another pod when you're in Miami?
We could. I don't know. We'll see. I mean, I bring the mics everywhere. I'll definitely bank probably one down there because I'll be there. Yeah, we're flying down.
Flying?
Yeah, Paolo and I with another couple friends of ours. A friend who's.
You do that?
Yeah, we're doing it for the first time. We're going with another couple. We've been together for 5 years, and so have they. They've been together for 6, so it's we're freaking adults, bro. I'm 26 years old now.
I've been together 6 years.
My mom was like married when she was my age, or almost. No, she was. Shit, It's
When are you gonna pop the question?
I when the time's right.
When can the time be right?
Dude, I don't know.
She's the love of your life.
We're going on vacation first. That's the first thing on the menu. We're going on holiday. I'm gonna bring the mics because I bring them everywhere, and we're gonna be there like almost 2 weeks. So you and I are just for context. You and I are overlapping down there. I think, right?
I'm down there longer than you are.
Okay. Well, we'll see.
And I'm down there.
I bring the mics everywhere, but I might just bank the one, and that's
staying in Hallandale.
I think so. Yeah. But what I don't want to do is I don't want to burn a day of hers. Burdening her with a pod, which is why it might wind up being on the balcony with smoking something.
Here's what we could do.
And
in my building, she can go down to the pool or the beach, hang out all day.
It could be fun.
We can do a pod.
I'm not opposed. I mean, 2 in a month is is a lot, but I'm not opposed. If you got something burning,
I thought I was the most popular guest.
You are very much liked
Give
by
the people what they want. Give them what they want. Me. Look at me.
You and soccer. You think they want soccer? They like the others. They like the other stuff too. By the way,
I'm not saying that they wouldn't like the other stuff. I'm just saying you're very, very good at.
Well, I appreciate you saying so. You know what? You know what? I'm not very, very good at, dude. Fucking hosting comedy shows. I hosted my first show ever on Saturday.
It's a thing.
Listen,
eventually you'll get it.
Well, I hosted for the first time the other day. I want to tell you about this because you could relate to this because you know like how it's a different muscle. I don't especially crave, the hosting gig or job.
No one
I don't want to produce shows.
But the best comics.
Well,
one time. We're great hosts.
People tell me I don't listen to folks. That's not true. I listen to people who I respect. I do. When I went down to the city last year.
Yeah.
In December.
You had a whole conversation with Michael Che.
That was a year ago.
Right.
That was a different thing. That was a whole. Yeah, I think I'd done stand up 4 times, and he's telling me, listen, if it's not working for you 15 years in, and you got to sleep on the floor, are you still gonna be all in? And I was like, I think so, sir. You know.
There we are, 3 a.m, hanging out with Michael Che from SNL, and this guy is just like venting about how hard it is to start up. And Michael Che is like, yeah, that's what it's supposed to be. What do you think? You get offered SNL as soon as you fucking get out on stage? No, you fucking work your ass off.
I've been trying to take the advice in stride, and you know, if I'm not doing as well as I should ever, it's because I'm probably not taking the advice in as full stride as I should. Like, it was very good advice, you know. Like everything, without going into like specific detail, because I want to talk about something else, but without going into a ton of detail, he gave good advice. I think it's advice that when I followed, it's helped me, and I think if I stop, it'll, I'll start to suffer a little. And I think if I think I'm ever stagnant, I should probably look back to the advice and say, oh yeah, start doing that again. Like, it was very good advice. It was very concise. It was straight to the point. But that's not what I'm talking about. I have tried to listen to him there because I think he knows what he's talking about.
Okay.
But I'm talking specifically about conversations I had with people in December who told me, you're less than a year in, you're in Montreal. A couple of these guys were from Toronto. They were saying, listen, dude, like, we know what Montreal's like. The first 5 years, obviously, you're just sort of trying to build yourself up anyway. Host a show. And I was like, really? I fucking don't want to host a show. And they were like, no, do it anyway. Do it anyway because it will... I mean, first of all, you can make a little money doing it, but also other comics will suck you off and give you more stage time, which is kind of like ultimately the goal is you do more reps. But also the most important thing I think is you just get better because you can kind of run time. Because if you're always only ever doing 5 minutes and you just something fun happens and you want to fucking riff on it, then you got no time left and it's like I'm fizzling out just when I was gaining speed. You know,
the MC, the master of ceremonies, you're relied upon to be the face of the show.
So it's a hard thing to do, but I think, because it's harder, I think it's a good thing to do and like throw yourself into. A lot of people don't put themselves in uncomfortable situations. So that was my thinking, right? So here's what I did.
You don't have the right amount of energy to host a show.
I agree. It went all right, but here's the thing. But it was a little fucked up, okay? You were asking me how to go, and I told you I would tell you on the pod. We're going to end on this here. It was fucked up. Most of the mics we do here are in the city. I live in the suburbs. I thought to myself, maybe we could, find a good venue out here, like a pub or a bar, and we'll make it a regular thing. And, people who live around here can come out, and it won't be that far from me. I'll have a workout room where I could run a little bit of time in the beginning. Then I can come up and fuck around, get better at crowd working, which I think too many people rely on. But also, it is a good thing to be good at.
Right.
Every time I've ever riffed with the crowd, it's always been good. But I've had a harder time like building up the balls to say, fuck it, I'm only crowd working today. Whereas... when you host, it's kind of like almost like a necessary thing to do. So I thought, good thing to do, good thing to try. And, if it's a financial success, the fucking place sells out and, the promoter makes money and the venue makes money, then they'll want to do it again. And then, after having done it 3 times, maybe after maybe 6 months, you do it quarterly, you could say, hey, why don't we do it on a dead night? Sure. That's my thinking, right? Then, boom, all of a sudden I'm hosting, and then I'm getting better. The reason I've done this is because people told me to do it, and I've observed that other comics in the city who have been doing it a little longer, who are among the more respected ones in the city, who might be ready to take a jump or who have had good things happen to them at this level, have hosted. So I thought, great, good thing to do. We're doing it in the suburbs. The promoter does a lot of advertising through Facebook. Who comes out to a suburban show where all the advertisement is on Facebook? Fucking corpses. Pensioners. Ancient people. Dude, so the way it works is it's a great venue. Okay, it's a good venue. And it's not great for stand-up. It's a good place to eat. But high ceilings, weird layout, long bar, crazy angles.
It's not corpses, dude.
Dude, just hear me out. Just hear me out. Doors open at 7 o'clock. It's a Saturday night show. It's the first time I'm hosting ever. It's an 8 o'clock show. I'm the face of the show. I put it all together.
And was it a 7 o'clock or an 8 o'clock?
It's an 8 o'clock show. Doors open at 7.
Doors open.
People, I show up at 6:59. There's fucking already people in the front row who have arrived early for the early bird special. These old fucking white folks are just in the splash zone all around the stage. And I see that and I think, oh no. Because that day I'm like, first of all, I'm thinking, how do I approach this? And that day I decided to rewatch like the beginning of Bill Burr's Friends Who Kill on Netflix, which is like a show he did at the Netflix Fest in LA last year.
Actually.
Oh, you were there? Okay, well, he hosted it.
Right.
And I saw how he did it. And he comes out and he goes, all right, how's it going? Everything doing all right? Yeah, I tell you, I had a weird He gets right into it. And I was like, oh, fuck. It's possible to go up and get right into it.
You're supposed to.
That's what I'll do. Yeah, but some people go, hey, how you doing? Where are you from? I don't know, whatever. How long have you been fucking?
Well,
like
listen,
whatever.
There's multiple ways to do it.
You know?
There's no wrong or right away.
What kind of fucking brown person are you? Like, you ask these stupid questions.
I always think going in with material is the best way to go.
It's what I tried with.
And if it's not, like, that means, like, hey, I got to fight this crowd a little bit.
I want him back. I want him back. But listen, I went in a little cold. They were all very cold. The sound wasn't great in the beginning.
Sure.
There's a fucking sound guy behind me in a DJ booth tinkering. This microphone's great. You're going to listen back to it tomorrow. It's going to be great. Yes. It's the jab. And so I start off, they're fucking ice cold, right? And I'm like, I had a set that I'm doing. And you know how, like, you can imagine, sometimes you're doing stand-up, and it looks like the person's doing stand-up, but what's actually happening is, I don't know if you've ever heard comics talk about this, but you're actually like calculating in your mind. There's like stuff, like you're speaking, but you're computing. You're thinking stuff on the fly, like, oh no, this isn't going to work. Right. And I had a feeling that the rape jokes and the joke about the age of consent wouldn't go over very well with this crowd of old people. But I was hell-bent on doing it anyway. And it was just interesting.
But listen, it's respectable that you went and did it anyway, because that's how you learn about yourself. So there's nothing wrong with it. It didn't hit
the way it was normally in the clubs.
You probably wouldn't have, but you decided, fuck it, I want to see how this does. And you did it.
Yeah, you did it. He did it. But yeah, it's, I recovered. I got him back, but it was like, yeah, all right, that was a mistake. You got to acknowledge it.
But you probably knew already before you did it.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But you said, you know what? I do want to see what kind of reaction this joke gets in this type of audience.
It's fun to torture people. I enjoy torturing people a little more, I think, than some promoters like.
Oh, no one likes.
It's like, I think you deserve this, so I'm going to give it to you.
And no one typically likes a guy, especially a promoter who's trying to make money, where you basically alienate the audience.
Well, they wound up having a good time, and I think they liked me because I leaned into being a bit of an insane person.
But if you were,
that's not usually
you were a comic who was passed at a club and did that every time you were on stage, eventually that would get it.
Well, it's got to work, right? Like you got to.
Sometimes it doesn't, but
right. But sometimes people go, "Oh shit, that's true. I never thought of that."
Even if it works or doesn't work, seeing that every single time, that's a problem. You definitely want to see some versatility, range and versatility. I got range. You don't want to see the same thing happen all the time.
Yeah, but it's just it's like these people are. It's just, dude. In a Facebook group, a poor 68-year-old lady says to her husband, let's go to a comedy show.
Sure.
They're not comedy people who understand that this is an interesting thing. Made you think this way. You just realize that that's fucked up. It's more like, why is he talking about this? It's a lot of, and the lights were on too high, so I could see a few of the people's faces in the front. Then all the young people are in the back who got there later, and they're all kind of like fucking, right? The sound's not like traveling, but and the place is huge. So I don't know. It was weird. It was fun.
Listen, they call those.
But I was like, that's why I'm doing it.
They call those hell gigs, and you need them.
And and as soon as I got off stage, the owner of the venue was like, "I like you." He's like, "Hey, this is great. We're fucking made a lot of money. I like you. Let's do it again." I was like, "Yeah." I was like, "You kidding me?" I was like, "Shit, I think that was a hell of a I had a hell of a time with them." He's like, "No, you want him back. It was good." But I don't know. It's never as good as you think it is. It's also never as bad as you think it is. You get I listened back. I was like, okay, like I did it was a graceful job of guiding them back. But it's like, fuck. Hosting is very different. Like you can't go in and assume you're going to go in.
You feel yourself getting more confident and stronger when you do those types of shows.
Yeah.
And that's why you do them.
Yeah. Usually when I go in with a plan and
you're strengthening the muscle. You got to keep exercising that muscle in order for it to be, effective. When then you go and do a club here where there's a rabid crowd that is really there to watch stand up. Now all of a sudden it becomes easier because you did it in front of the worst possible audience. Now you're doing it in front of the audience who actually wants it.
Right.
And you're giving it to them. And they're like, and they get excited.
Yeah, I think the next time that we might have to segregate the people. We might have to say, "Hey, old people, back there near the slots."
Listen, you can't fight. You can't fight it. You know what I mean?
I told them at the end of the show. I said, "Hey guys, just wanted to announce." I said, first of all, guys in the front row, fucking please take your medicine. And then I said, what did I say? I said, we learned a lot this first show. I said, I think we learned, that the next time we're going to have a screening process. In order to come in, you got to pass a vertical test.
Let me give you an example. Right?
So you got to pass a vertical to come in.
You may get booked one day at like a casino gig, right?
Right. And
those tickets usually don't get sold to outsiders. They get sold to members
and degenerate gamblers.
Season ticket holders. Because they buy a season pass to the theater, let's say, at whatever casino. And then they get sent what's going on every week. And you just make, click, I want to go to that or whatever. So that's what happens, and they don't know who anyone is or what they're going to do.
Yeah, I heard that those casino gigs are kind of shitty sometimes.
They could be very shitty because it's like those people don't necessarily know what to expect or really going to be there for some guy they don't know. So they go to the shows, and you got to make the best of it because that's who you have in that moment. That's who you're trying to entertain.
Yeah, it's just like there's this thing that I think comics respect with other comics where they see the comic double down and kind of go to war, but it
is respectable.
But yeah, it's not good. It's not great for business, and it's
also
fucking
saving
shitty.
the show is even more respected.
That's yeah.
You can have it out.
I don't know that I want.
For example, a guy like Joe DeRosa.
Yeah.
One of the funniest people in New York City. Great dude.
I'll say this because he's not here and because it won't look fucking thirsty and pathetic. But I really like him. He's like one of my. He's got a lot
of angst.
I like
anger.
studying his
whole
shit.
set is really about how angry he is and how frustrated.
Do you remember his one that he did the A side and the B side for, where he kills on the A side? It's a good set, and then on the B side he was performing. I think he called it At the Mercy of Drunks.
Right.
I love that. I love that one so much.
So he's a guy who, if the show's starting to derail, he's not gonna save it. He's gonna go all in and destroy it.
Yeah, but that's admirable.
Yes. And it's fun to watch if you're a comedian.
Or a guy who likes stand-up.
Or a guy who gets it and likes it. But for, like, club owners and whatever, you're like...
Yeah.
See, like, he's been to the club for many times. But when I hear him bombing, I pull everybody I know. I go, fucking Joe's bombing. Let's go see this.
Yeah, I think I might be that. Yeah, that's what people say about me now, too.
I'll just grab everybody because it's...
That's what people said. I'm like mad because there were times when I felt like I was bombing, and they're like, "No, it was great." They're like, "No, it was great."
It's beautiful.
Yeah, but it makes me mad.
Which is why bombing is okay because it fucking develops a whole other thing. It strengthens another muscle. You know what I mean? If you're gonna bomb,
the bomb muscle's different.
If you're gonna bomb, you might as well bomb beautifully. You know what I mean? Just fucking take the L and just go in.
Yeah, because I don't know if I could be like Seinfeld and talk to the old people and go, hey, young lady, how can I'll try, but I will try because it's out of my comfort zone. But my instinct is like next time I'll say, hey, just a reminder, folks, please get your 12th booster. It's very important that you do that to, help out your community so you guys could all croak and die and give over your houses to us. There's no fucking houses for the rest of us.
I have on video.
Like something like that, because that's my instinct is to say, say something horrific that they won't like, but then the younger people or the people that are there that like the horrible shit are going to say, we like him.
I think that.
So it's almost like by not doing that's more noble, by trying to be.
That witnesses it gets educated, just gets an education. Because they go, oh, I can see how this is funny. I can see how this is also part of the art form. That sometimes it does go wrong. And watching this guy dismantle himself is even fucking funnier than what he might have done that worked.
The funny thing, too, is like when a couple of things, like I shouldn't have gotten into material right away because people were like, wait, what? He's doing bits? Like, so I was like, okay. So I kind of reset it, got him back. What's crazy is when you start doing bits again and the bits start working, it feels it just makes it all feel absurd. Right. Does that make sense? Yeah. I started off the show too hot. I think then I won them back, made fun of how hot I was like, all right, this is clearly not what you guys were expecting.
Then they get tired.
Yeah, no, but I won them back. And then I started doing bits, and the bits were working, and it's like, oh shit, like oh, that's a good one. And but it's absurd. It makes you realize how much like variance there is in a set like that.
Someone like Ian Lara, right? I was talking about before. He's a guy who's so technical, and what he'll do is he'll start every set, whether he's hosting or whether he's doing a spot or doing an hour, down here, and he'll just increase the level slowly until it starts to arc over.
You have to
and
hide.
Then he closes strong.
I should have hid the dick jokes and the rape jokes and the joke about the age of consent. Late till later.
Sometimes it's not good to start with those.
Eddie Bravo, I think I heard a clip. I was watching a video once of Eddie Bravo talking about how he went on at the comedy. Eddie Bravo is big in the conspiracy theories. He went on at the Comedy Store or something, and he started talking about like they're eating babies or whatever. And Joey Diaz pulls him aside in the back room. Because apparently Eddie, like, he never had him. He lost him right away, and he never got him back. And Joey Diaz goes to him. He goes, Eddie Bravo. He goes, you gotta play with the pussy a little bit. You can't just put it in their ass or whatever. You can't just fuck them in the mouth.
Well, and that's the thing. So like,
something horrific like
that. So here's the thing at the Comedy Store, right? If you're at the Comedy Store, typically how they do shows is they'll have 10 to 12 comics on a show, and it's a handoff. So you go up, do your 7 to 10 minute set or whatever it is, and then there's no host. You hand it off to the next comic instead. That's how they prefer to do it. So
that's kind of cool too.
It's kind of cool, but guess what? If someone blows a set and just destroys themselves,
there's no host to recalibrate.
There's no host to recalibrate, and now it becomes the job of the next guy who really just wanted to do his set.
It's probably good. Yeah, it's probably good for.
You understand what I'm saying? So
it's probably good for the locker room, though. Just to kind of.
But also, that's how it also pisses people off.
Yeah, but that's how you get a locker room, dynamic and trust this guy. Don't trust this guy.
Let's say you're in LA and Theo Vaughn's getting ready to do the Tonight Show or something, and you go up before Theo Vaughn. Yeah. And you have a shit set.
Tonight's the night that I'm going to throw out the stupid one that I haven't wanted to talk about.
And now Theo's got to go up there. And now he can't just go into his material.
Yeah, I feel horrible.
He's got to win the audience. He's got to win the audience over and have good time with them. Yeah. And by the time he does that, he's already introducing the next comic.
Yeah, right.
So that's where it gets convoluted. That's where people can get pissed off.
It's also why I want to be a host, because I assume people will suck sometimes, and then it's like, good, now I got to win.
And you exercise that muscle.
That's why, right.
Yeah. And so when you have to do...
It's like training with the weighted bat.
And when you have to follow somebody who just got fucked up, now you already know what to do because you've hosted before. You know exactly how to, pick it up and get that crowd going.
The bottom line is I need more valuable reps because there's not a ton of them here, so you have to get more of them. That's what I'm trying to create. Anyway.
Start going I'm telling you. Start doing all those suburb shows, all that stuff. Like any show you can pick up.
Yeah, as soon as it was done.
Go to Ottawa, like you said before. Toronto, if you can get there.
As soon as the show was done and the host was like, I loved it, we'll do it again. In my mind, I was thinking, fuck, I'm dreading the next one. But you know what? Like, time passed, and I was like, no, this is good. Now I know what to expect, and I know it'll be a hard one. Now I know it's going to be a harder room. Why run from it and say, fuck that? I'm not going to do that.
How far is Windsor?
Windsor? Very.
It's very far.
Yeah, I think so. I've never been there.
There's a club called Rumors over there.
It's like Detroit, practically.
Yeah.
Well, it's fucking really far.
There's a club called Rumors. Have you ever heard of it?
No. I'll go if they'll have me. but no,
there's a club.
I've never heard of it.
If they usually do 7 to 8 shows a week.
Okay.
Right? So but they also have host, feature, and headliner. That's how they do it. They bring their headliner in from out of town or whatever, and then either you're a host or a feature. That's a great club to go into and learn about yourself.
It's far. I mean, if you're in Detroit, it's probably a good move.
But if the guy gives you a hotel room for those shows, then it's worth it.
Yeah, absolutely. It's called going on the road. I would do that.
Call that guy.
Call him. Hey.
Give him a shout.
Is that a thing people do? You call
Yes.
people from fucking
Say, dude,
clubs in the middle. You call clubs in the middle of the country.
I'm a comedian from Montreal. I want to do some feature work.
Yeah, but I don't film my shit ever because I don't think it's worth it. Because I don't think I'm gonna post it. Because I think it's
Say
annoying how everyone posts.
Say where
their
you've
stuff.
been up,
Yeah.
and they can vouch for you.
Anyway, it's interesting.
It's
It's a long road ahead.
It's another way to do it.
It's a long road
It
ahead.
just builds your reps. That's what I'm saying. Now, all of a sudden, you're on the road doing 20 minutes versus 7 minutes here.
Sure.
in the city.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
You're right. No,
And-
it's a good point.
It just helps you build your time.
That's why I come to JFL, folks, for the fucking for the crash courses. That is why I'm here, actually, just to literally just absorb info like a sponge and to talk about the Saudi government
And the Saudi government and how they're going to ruin soccer.
Do you have anything you'd like to or save soccer? Honestly, I wanted to wrap the pod, and I just said that I feel like we're just gonna go down a whole new wormhole. I mean that. I think it's kind of like inevitable that money unashamedly comes into the game. So it's like once we kind of accept what we are, but it's like once we accept what we are, we can at least be the truest version of ourselves as a sport. Why do we pretend
Live Golf and PGA merged? You know that, right?
Yeah, of course. You think the same thing might happen with UEFA?
They're putting money into PGA, but they're getting everything they want. Live is going to go away. PGA is going to be the sport, right?
Right.
It's going to go back to being the prominent tournament tour for the sport.
Right. But the contracts still get honored. That the live athletes. Right.
Yeah. And they get everything they want. They get everything they wanted out of the PGA. Right. Now, that day is going to come one day where UEFA is going to go, shit, they're basically taking
They're too big
all
for
of
us
our
to
great
take on.
players.
Right.
Now, they'll sit down with them and go, guys,
Make the bleeding stop.
we can't sell you UEFA.
We need peace.
We need peace.
We
Make
need
the
peace.
bleeding stop. What do you want? And you know what they're going to say? We want our Super League. And that's when the Super League is going to happen.
You heard it here first, folks.
I could be 100% wrong by that, like
Yeah.
I was with Ronaldo, but
Do you have anything you want
I feel like that's what they want. It feels like that's where they're going for.
I don't disagree.
Yeah.
I don't disagree. This is a good pod, dude. Do you have anything you want to plug before?
Yeah, I produced a horror film called Follow Her.
I haven't seen it. It looks very good.
It's
I'm not a
now
big
available-
horror film guy.
I'm not either, but it's great. It's a great story, so that's why I got involved.
I interrupted you. Start again from the top. Sorry.
It's
you,
on all,
you produced a film called.
It's on all. Follow Her. It's on all platforms right now. So go and rent it, watch it. Tell me it sucks. Send me a message. Tell me to go fuck myself. Either way, just leave a comment after you watch it on the whatever platform it is, and tell me what you thought.
Wits Comedy.
No, it's not Wits Comedy.
No, what about Wits Comedy?
So it's
just a reminder.
This week at the Just for Laughs Festival, we're basically publicly launching Wits Comedy. We're saying we're here after about a year and a half of preparation, soft launches, getting all the kinks out. We're now going to make a move the rest of the year to be on the biggest platforms, available for what is called fast channels. And what fast channels are is the future of television. What's happening is people are not able to afford streaming or don't want the burden of streaming anymore. So they're going back to free television. If they're going to pay for a streamer, then they might as well, pay for non-commercial television. But now Netflix is putting commercials in, all the other platforms have commercials in their stuff and you're still paying for it. So there's fast channels that already exist on platforms like Plex and Roku channel and Pluto TV and stuff like that. And Wits Comedy TV is a channel on those. Will be a channel on those platforms. Look out for it on Freevee. Plex is our biggest carrier. It's going to be on TSL televisions, Vizio televisions coming in September, Samsung televisions, etc., etc. My point is, this is going to be the future of television. It's going to go back to commercial TV, but it's not going to be over your head stuff. Meaning the commercials are going to be like maybe 2 commercials. It's going to be timed so you can see how much time before the show restarts. And eventually they're going to be interactive. Which is crazy. I was given a demonstration the other day by TCL televisions where they have original programming that's going to stop while you're watching it and start talking to you.
Okay.
Using AI technology.
Talk to you.
They're going to talk to you. They're going to look at you in the screen.
Say, do you like that?
And they're going to go, hey, how do you like the show so far? Are you? And then you're going to say, great.
I don't even want to talk to people. I want to talk to my TV now.
And then the guy's going to sell you a sandwich.
Can you say, get fucked, please? And like Siri, it'll say,
and you'll have a
thank
response for that.
It'll say, that's not nice.
Yeah, or something like that.
God.
But he said, hey, let me just show you right now on Grubhub, you could have, this sandwich if you want to order it. Let me know. I'll order it for you.
Right.
But it's literally...
It'll become your friend.
It's literally the guy that...
That's horrifying.
It's literally the person you've been watching on the show.
That's horrifying.
Doing it.
It's Leo DiCaprio fucking selling you a fucking local...
So I was watching...
Selling you a deli sub
I was watching an animated character during this demonstration do it, and I was like freaked the fuck out. It's like, I can't believe this is going to happen, but it's happening.
So fuck the fucking comic on stage that you're watching. Just steps off for a sec, breaks the fourth wall, and says,
"No, the actual.
Hey man, you hungry?
Yeah.
Just imagine Ari.
That's exactly. Yeah.
Ari doing a show.
Hey,
hey man.
Hey buddy.
Hey buddy. You wanna have a burrito? Like
hey, you want a drink? When I drink, I go to this place, and you'll see on the side the product.
Okay, well, check that out or don't if you want to fucking...
Anyway, that's not happening just yet.
Still feel human.
But fast channels are coming, and they already exist. And check them out. They're on your platforms already. Which Comedy TV is going to be one of those. We already have about 50 to 60 original hours of content, stuff you've never seen before, which is great. And there's going to be more stuff coming. We're filming specials here at the festival. We'll be filming a lot of specials over the course of the year, and always uploading new content.
Thanks for the time, man. I appreciate you coming on as always. This was fun. Listeners, I'm Sam Adamo everywhere. I'm Sam Adamo. Follow me, subscribe to the channel if you're new. Probably should have said this off the top. I said I would fucking do this every time we start a pod off now, and I don't. I mean, it's pointless in me even saying so now, because you guys, if you're still listening, I mean, this has no fucking benefit, but like the video. Apparently that helps. Like, if you like it right away.
Like the video.
No, but I was supposed to say
this kid works hard.
But I was supposed to say it right away. Just say
like it.
But you know why we didn't do that is because we were talking about your voice right off the bat, and I wasn't in the headspace.
We went right into conversation.
I wanted to be the first thing I said. Hey, you like it? Great, like it right now.
Just
it tells the algo
button.
that you like it, so that it'll
button.
push it to more people.
Just press the button.
Thank you.
It takes 2 seconds.
Okay, guys. Till next time, alla prossima. Ciao.